Somebody locked the control room, and nobody spoke after that. The lights were low, the whiskey was warm, and every tired musician there could feel a coming storm. She stepped to the microphone, wearing midnight blue, like heartbreak itself had finally learned to move. The piano sounded distant, like thunder far away, and every little shadow felt heavier that day. They said, "Don't let this session leak," but the soul already spread. They said, "Some songs disappear, but some songs raise the dead." The night the tape went missing, the room stayed frozen still. The night the tape went missing, nobody touched the reel. Too much truth, too much truth, too much flame. The night the tape went missing, nothing survived the same. Missing, gone, but the soul stayed on. The drummer played softer, like he feared the sound. The trumpet bent slowly toward the dirty ground. A woman near the doorway held her breath too long, like the room had turned into a confession song. Smoke drifted upward under dim red light, and every trembling harmony made the darkness feel alive. They wanted another recording, something easy to hide. She gave him the kind of sorrow that never really dies. The night the tape went missing, the old walls shook with pain. The night the tape went missing, nothing felt contained. Too much soul, too much soul, too much rain. The night the tape went missing, nothing survived the same. Maybe somebody stole it, maybe somebody knew. Some truths get buried because they cut too true. Maybe the tape still exists in some forgotten place, still carrying her voice, still carrying that face. The night the tape went missing, the room stayed state spiritually torn. The night the tape went missing, something new was born. Too much soul, too much soul, too much blame. The night the tape went missing, nothing survived the same. Somebody locked the control room, and nobody spoke again. The cigarette kept burning, but nobody moved. The room smelled like smoke, an old heartbreak wine. Every tired musician there knew this night crossed a line. She stood beneath the amber light with sadness in her hands, like she carried every broken promise across the southern land. The piano rolled softly like rain against glass, and every trembling silence felt too heavy to pass. They said, keep the room together, but the room already cracked. They said, don't let her go too deep, but there was no pulling her back. Nobody touched the ashtray after she sang that song. Nobody touched the ashtray, like the whole room knew something was wrong. Too much truth, too much smoke. Nobody touched the ashtray. Too much smoke. After the old hurt woke. Stay still, stay still, stay near, stay near. The soul got dangerous in here. The drummer kept his eyes low, trying not to fall apart. The trumpet player leaned back, holding on to his heart. A woman near the doorway started crying into her sleeve, like the song had touched something she never wanted to leave. The choir sounded fragile underneath the haze, and every little harmony felt buried in yesterday. They wanted another sad tune, something easy to replay. She gave them the kind of sorrow that stains the room for days. Nobody touched the ashtray. The smoke stayed hanging high. Nobody touched the ashtray. same. The cigarette kept burning, but nobody moved. Nobody followed her out. The room stayed dim under amber light, like the walls themselves were afraid of the night. She sang with smoke caught deep in her lungs, like every broken memory still lived on her tongue. The piano sounded fragile, like glass before rain, and every tired face inside looked different after the pain. They said, don't let the sorrow linger, but sorrow already moved in. They said, close the session softly, but the silence got too thin. She left the room in silence, without looking back. She left the room in silence, while the old tape stayed black. Too much soul, too much hate, too much hate, too much hate. She left the room in silence. Nothing survived the same. No goodbye, no goodbye, no sound, no sound, just smoke falling down. The drummer sat frozen with his sticks in his hand, like he suddenly forgot how to lead the band. A woman near the doorway pressed her hand to her chest, like the song had touched somewhere she never confessed. The trumpet cried softly toward the empty chair, and every little echo still sounded like she was there. They wanted another heartbreak song, something safe to survive. She gave them the kind of truth that keeps old ghosts alive. She left the room in silence, but the walls stayed loud. She left the room in silence, still hanging through the crowd. Too much truth, too much flame, too much flame. She left the room in silence. Nothing survived the same. Maybe certain women disappear, but leave their soul behind. Maybe old recordings remember better than the human mind. Maybe silence grows heavier after somebody real. Maybe the room stays went low. She left the room in silence, but nobody wanted to go. Too much soul, too much rain, too much rain, too much rain. She left the room in silence. Nothing survived the same. Nobody followed her out. Nobody followed her out. Halfway through the song, the room went still. The smoke moved slowly under crimson light, and every tired musician there could feel something wasn't right. She stood by the microphone like a storm in heels, singing the kind of heartbreak most people never reveal. The piano rolled darker than anybody expected, and every trembling harmony felt spiritually infected. They said, keep the tape rolling, but the engineer looked pale. They said, this is just another session, but the room already failed. The engineer stopped the session right in the middle of the pain. The engineer stopped the session, but the silence stayed the same. Too much truth, too much fire, too much fire. The engineer stopped the session, but the soul kept climbing higher. Stop the reel, stop the reel, kill the sound, but the feeling stayed around. The drummer looked shaken, like he forgot the beat. The trumpet player lowered his head toward the dirty street. A woman near the doorway started praying under breath, like the song had awakened something close to death. The choir stayed whispering, soft beneath the smoke, and every note she sang felt too honest to hold. They wanted another performance, something clean and safe. She gave them the kind of sorrow that changes a place. The engineer stopped the session, but nobody moved something cruel. Maybe the engineer stopped it because he understood some truth stay buried for the neighborhood's good. The engineer stopped the session, but the room still carried pain. The engineer stopped the session, but the smoke still knew her name. Too much soul, too much roll, too much rain. The engineer stopped the session. Nothing survived the same. Halfway through the song, the room went still. Nobody reached for another drink. The glasses sat sweating under amber light, and every tired soul in there looked haunted by the night. She stepped beside the microphone in a velvet midnight gown, like somebody carrying thunder into a broken town. The piano sounded lonely, like rain against old cars, and every trembling harmony felt stitched together from scars. They said, pour another round, pour another round, but the room already changed, already changed. They said, keep the mood alive, but nothing felt the same. The whiskey turned bitter after she sang that line. The whiskey turned bitter, like heartbreak mixed with time. Too much soul, too much pain, too much pain, too much pain. The whiskey turned bitter, nothing survived the same. Drink slow, slow, stay low, let the old sorrow flow. The drummer stared downward, trying not to break apart. The trumpet bent softly, like smoke around a heart. A woman near the doorway held her breath too long, like the song had touched somewhere she buried all along. The choir sounded distant, like ghosts in the haze, and every note she carried stayed trapped in yesterday. They wanted another love song, something easy to survive. She gave them the kind of truth that keeps all wounds alive. survive the same. Maybe certain songs change rooms without touching a thing. Maybe broken women survive by finally learning to sing. Maybe whiskey tastes different when the soul gets exposed. Maybe pain turns holy the moment the old heart falls. The whiskey turned bitter even after she was gone. The whiskey turned bitter, but the old tape carried on. Too much soul, too much roll, too much rain. The whiskey turned bitter, nothing survived the same. Nobody reached for another drink. The choir came in trembling tonight. The room was wrapped in smoke and old velvet heat. Every tired musician there could barely stay in their seat. She stood beside the microphone with fire behind her eyes, like somebody who stopped caring about polite disguise. The piano sounded nervous under dim golden light, and every little silence felt louder than the night. They said, keep the arrangement clean, but clean had already died. They said, hold the harmony steady, but sorrow changed the tide. The choir forgot the harmony when she opened up the page. The choir forgot the harmony. Nothing sounded safe again. Too much soul, too much flame, too much flame, too much flame. The choir forgot the harmony. Nothing survived the same. Oh Lord, breathe slow, breathe slow. Let the old feeling grow. The drummer missed a measure, trying not to fall apart. The trumpet bent softly, like smoke around a heart. A woman near the doorway closed her eyes to pray, like the song had found something she hid away for days. The organ rolled deeper, like thunder beneath rain, and every trembling harmony felt spiritually stained. like the walls themselves might break. Too much truth, too much blame, too much blame, too much blame. The choir forgot the harmony. Nothing survived the same. Maybe every hidden wound starts trembling when exposed. Maybe soul music survives because pain never goes. Maybe harmony collapses when the truth gets too near. Maybe certain songs awaken everything people fear. The choir forgot the harmony even after she was done. The choir forgot the harmony long after the night was gone. Too much soul, too much roll, too much rain, too much rain. The choir forgot the harmony. Nothing survived the same. The choir came and trembling tonight. The choir came and trembling tonight. Leave the room dark a little longer. The amber lights were fading into cigarette haze, and every tired face inside looked trapped in yesterday. She stood beside the microphone like a memory dressed in gold, singing the kind of heartbreak most people never hold. The piano sounded distant, like church bells in rain, and every trembling harmony still carried her pain. They said, turn the house lights up, but nobody moved a hand. They said, the session's over, but nobody seemed to stand. Nobody wanted the lights back on. After she sang that way, nobody wanted the lights back on. Nobody wanted the pain to fade. Too much soul, too much hate. Nobody wanted the lights back on. Nothing survived the same. Stay low, stay low, stay near, stay near. The soul still lingers here. The drummer sat frozen with his eyes on the floor, like the room had opened, something nobody prepared for. A woman near the doorway held her coat against her chest, like the song it touched somewhere she never confessed. The trumpet player stayed silent underneath the smoke, and every note she left behind still felt too heavy to hold. They wanted another slow dance, something easy to survive. She gave them the kind of sorrow that keeps old ghosts alive. Nobody wanted the lights back on, even after the reel went black. Nobody wanted the lights back on, like they feared reality coming back. Too much truth, too much flame. Nobody wanted the lights back on. Nothing survived the same. Maybe darkness feels safer after the soul gets exposed. Maybe broken hearts stay seated when the truth gets close. Maybe all recordings survive because certain nights stay real. Maybe nobody touched the lights because everybody could feel. Nobody wanted the lights back on. Long after she was gone, nobody wanted the lights back on. But the old tape carried on with too much soul, too much rain. Nobody wanted the lights back on. Nothing survive the same. Leave the room dark a little longer. The reel stopped spinning, but the room never recovered. Oh, yeah. The smoke stayed hanging under dim red light, like the walls themselves were afraid of the night. She stood beside the microphone with tears she never showed, and every tired soul in there could feel the room implode. The piano sounded hollow, like rain through broken glass, and every trembling harmony felt too heavy to pass. They said, lock the session down, but the feeling already spread. They said, some songs disappear, but some songs wake the dead. The tape was never found again after she sang that night. The tape was never found again, but the soul survived the light. The drummer lowered his head like a man saying grace. The trumpet bent slowly toward the empty space. A woman near the doorway closed her eyes to pray, like the song had touched something she buried far away. The choir sounded broken underneath the haze, and every note she carried stayed trapped in yesterday. They wanted another recording, something safe to replay. She gave them the kind of sorrow that never fades away. The tape was never found again, even after the lights went black. The tape was never found again, but the room still wanted her back. Too much soul, too much rain, too much rain. The tape was never found again. Nothing survived the same. Maybe somebody hit the master somewhere nobody could see. Maybe truth grows dangerous when it sounds too free. Maybe all recordings survive inside wood and wire. Maybe broken women leave voices that never tire. The tape was never found again, but the smoke still knew her name. The tape was never found again, and nothing stayed the same. Too much soul, too much soul, too much flame. The tape was never found again. Nothing survived the same. The reel stopped spinning, but the room never recovered.